Okay, let's dive into a really powerful analysis of Susan Laurie Park's Pulitzer Prize-winning play, In the Blood. We're going to unpack the incredibly tough question of how a seemingly loving mother could be driven to commit an absolutely unthinkable act.
So this entire explainer is based on a fascinating new research paper. And what it does is, instead of just pointing a finger at the individual, it uses these really powerful critical tools to look at the societal systems that can push a person toward tragedy. It's a perspective that, honestly, previous analyses just haven't fully explored.
And the source for all of this is top-notch. The paper itself is called Beyond the Mother Knot, and it's written by a team of expert researchers from several universities, including Al Ain University, Kafel University, and Northern Borders University. It's published in Theory and Practice in Language Studies, which is a respected Scopus Index journal. And, get this, it's open access. We've dropped a link right in the description for you so you can download it and even cite it for free. It's a fantastic resource if you're doing any research on these topics.
So this is the big, haunting question at the very heart of the play. It's a question that really forces us to look for answers not just inside a character's mind, but in the world that was built around her. And this research gives us an incredible framework to do just that.
To get to the bottom of this, the researchers used two really powerful analytical lenses, and it's the way they combine them that's so new and insightful. So let's break these down.
First up, they use the theory of intersectionality. This term comes from the brilliant scholar Kimberly Crenshaw. The idea is that you can't really understand one form of oppression, like racism, in a vacuum. You have to see how it overlaps and interacts with other things, like sexism and classism. They don't just add up, they compound each other.
And what's so amazing about this framework is that it shows this isn't just about one person being mean to another. The paper shows how this stuff operates on three levels at the same time. You've got the big institutional systems that put up barriers, the cultural stereotypes that are used to justify abuse, and then, of course, the individual acts that actually enforce it all.
Okay, so the second lens they use is racial trauma. The paper defines this as a type of complex trauma. This means it's not from a single bad event, but from the constant, grinding, day-in, day-out stress of living inside racist systems. It's like the slow, crushing weight of daily discrimination.
And this kind of ongoing trauma can show up as post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. The symptoms are absolutely key to understanding our story. Things like intrusive thoughts, trying to avoid any reminders of the trauma, feeling numb, and this constant state of being on edge, or what's called hyperarousal.
All right, now let's take these big concepts and see exactly how they apply to the play's main character, Hester La Negrita. Right away, the play establishes how society has branded Hester. This one single word is scrawled on the wall of the bridge she and her 5 kids call home. You know, it's not just graffiti, it's a public verdict. It defines her before she even gets to say a word. You see, Hester exists at this absolutely brutal intersection. Her very name, La Negrita, marks her race as her main feature. She's homeless and can't read, which traps her in poverty. And, as a single mother, she's constantly stereotyped and sexually exploited. No single one of these labels can capture her struggle. It's the toxic combination of all of them that's so destructive. And this cycle of abuse, it comes from every corner of her world. The doctor, who's supposed to represent the medical system, dehumanizes her. He treats her like a broken car. The reverend, representing the church, exploits her and then just falls back on this racist hoochie mama stereotype to justify it. It shows how men, both white and black, use their power within these systems to crush her.
But here's the thing, she fights back. She tries so hard to be that cultural stereotype of the resilient, super strong black mother. She polishes her kids' shoes with her own spit. She makes up games for them using old soda cans. She's trying desperately to shield them from the world and protect that sacred bond between a mother and her children.
But you can just imagine the cumulative weight of all this trauma, this constant, multi-layered oppression. It eventually just becomes too much to bear. And that knot she's holding onto so tightly, it starts to come undone.
So she comes home totally defeated after one last, humiliating rejection from the reverend. And it's right here that a seemingly small thing happens, what the paper calls the last straw. It becomes the trigger that finally unleashes all of her stored-up trauma.
It's her own son, Jabber. He reveals he can read after all. He looks at that word on the wall, the brand society has slapped on her, and he says it right to her face. The outside world's judgment has finally broken into the one safe space she had left.
that one final violation. And it's not coming from a depressor, it's coming from her own child. That's the moment her entire psychic integrity just collapses.
So here's the crucial point. Her reaction isn't just simple anger. It's an eruption of all that suppressed racial trauma. It's a symptom of PTSD hyperarousal. And in that state, she brutally hits her son and she kills him. She symbolically destroys the mother knot, the very bond she fought her whole life to protect.
So, what does all this mean? Well, the paper's analysis gives a pretty clear verdict on this tragedy, and it argues that this wasn't the failure of a mother. It was the catastrophic failure of an entire system. Essentially, the research concludes that Hester's horrific act was the tragic and maybe even inevitable result of systemic racism, sexism, and classism all hitting at once. Her violence, when you look at it this way, is like a distorted voice of protest, a final, desperate scream against the forces that were crushing her. Her story is a huge warning sign. And that leaves us with a really provocative final thought. The research does a brilliant job of showing how a society can systematically create the conditions for its own tragedies. So it forces us to ask, if the system itself is what unravels the knot, then what's our collective responsibility to prevent it from ever happening again?